What's going on, guys? So today we're going to do something just a little bit different. I haven't done a video like this in a while, which is I've been really far behind on answering comments or replying to you guys and stuff. So what I've done in the past is I've made a video just going through and answering some of you guys' comments in video format. So today I'm going to do that. So the first question is about the peanut butter shot, and so I want to talk about that for a little bit. And then what they say here is, has anyone ever heard of the peanut butter shot or a pill or something that they give you at Basic to make you unhorny? I've heard that a few times, and is that true? You should make a video about it. So I'm going to answer that here. I'm not going to make a dedicated video, but there is like this little conspiracy theory about basic training about how either it's in the shot or it's in the food or something. Whenever you go to basic training, they're giving you some kind of cocktail to make you not horny whenever you're at basic training. And personally, I think that's completely not true. I think the reason that some people might think this is like, oh my gosh, why am I not horny? It's because you're at basic training and you're in a training environment and you're stressed out, and there's all these other factors that are into place to where you're not going to need to be turned on or anything. But as far as the peanut butter shot goes, that's just a penicillin shot. As far as I know, I'm like 99.9% sure. I'm pretty sure I looked that up a while ago, but it's just a penicillin shot. If you guys do not know what the peanut butter shot is, and people call it the peanut butter shot because it's like a very thick liquid that they're going to be injecting into your butt. It's going to be your upper part of your butt cheek, almost like your lower back, but it's basically the upper part of your butt. You're going to have to get this shot unless you're allergic to it. I believe it's, again, penicillin, so unless you're allergic to penicillin, you're going to have to get the shot. And it's going to be like a thick liquid, which you're actually going to have to rub out because it's going to be kind of like a knot in your butt. So for like the next couple of days after getting that shot, you're going to have to rub it out. And it's going to be a little bit more painful than the other shots. And personally for me, I've talked about shots. I do not like getting shots, or I don't like getting my blood taken or anything like that. But it's really not that bad. Or it's not as bad as people make it out to be. You just get a thick shot. You know, it's not going to be like some anti-hormone thing that some people think that it is. But I guess I answered kind of two questions there of what the peanut butter shot is actually, and then the whole controversy or conspiracy about the whole thing of them making you not horny whenever you're at basic training, which again, I think is totally false. And if it comes to the food, people think it's in the food. Well, the drill sergeants are going to be eating the same thing as the soldiers. So I don't think if that were the case that they would want to do that, or that would be an actually okay thing to do, to be tampering with people's like literal body chemistry by putting stuff in the food. The next question, I'm not going to read it word for word, but it's basically a fitness question related to my bench press and my push-ups. So my bench press is actually pretty high, hoping to max out in the next week or two at about 335, 340 pounds if I can on bench press. And my push-ups is pretty good as well. So the most I've done on push-ups in a 2-minute PT test is I've done 101 push-ups on 2 different tests. I've done, you know, upper 90s, and I'll always get in the 90s whenever I do PT tests. So my push-ups are pretty good. And this person's asking is like, does my bench press affect that, or is my push-ups affecting that? It's kind of both ways. And the answer is yes and no. So if you're really good at doing push-ups, if you can do a whole lot of push-ups, that doesn't necessarily mean that you can bench press a lot of weight, right? So somebody who's really skinny, really light, can knock out, you know, a good 75 push-ups, 80 push-ups, maybe even 90 push-ups, but then their bench max is only going to be like 150 pounds or so. And likewise, on the flip side, somebody can be benching 300 plus pounds, but if they're not doing push-ups, then, you know, yes, you're going to be able to, you know, do a good amount of push-ups, but you're not going to be able to do, you know, I would say even 70 plus guaranteed, because you can do 300 push-ups. So they kind of correlate a little bit. So if you can do a lot of push-ups, you're obviously going to be able to have some kind of skill or ability or strength on the bench press movement. But then if you can bench press a lot of weight, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be able to max out the push-ups for the PT test. So for me personally, I just work on them both, right? So I'm doing a whole bunch of bench press, or not a whole bunch of bench press, but I'm doing bench press and I'm doing push-ups, and they both kind of hand in hand help each other. But I definitely do not contribute my high bench max to actually doing push-ups. That's probably the smallest thing that has contributed to my push-ups, whereas doing incline bench or dumbbell bench press or all these other exercises that have helped my bench. So it's not really that correlated. So just because you can do a lot of push-ups does not necessarily mean that you're going to be able to bench a lot. So the next question I'm gonna answer here is, this person's asking, what happens after MEPS and when do you take your first PT exam? So if you guys haven't already, you're probably going to take some kind of APFT with your recruiter for future soldier training. It's not always going to be a legit PT test whenever you're with your recruiter. Some people will actually do a 2-2-2, which is 2 minutes of push-ups, 2 minutes of sit-ups, and a 2-mile run. Some people do a 1-1-1 with their recruiter. Some people with their recruiter just do, you know, some runs and stuff. So it's not really like a set in stone guaranteed thing that you're gonna do with your recruiter. But after MEPS, there's gonna be different times when you go to MEPS. I'm gonna explain this very quickly. But if you're active duty, you're gonna go to MEPS once for your initial swearing in and all that stuff and your initial medical checkup. And then you're gonna go to MEPS again the day before you leave for basic training. Then you're gonna leave for basic training, and what happens after MEPS is you go to basic training. And the first time you're actually going to take an actual PT test is towards the end of red phase during basic training, because you're going to get to reception. You're probably at least going to do a 1-mile run. I believe you guys can check back at my reception video, but I believe we only did a 1-mile run and 1 pull-up, I think, at reception. It's been a while ago now, so you'll have to go back and check my reception video. But at basic training, the first day of basic training, like the first day of actual basic training, you're going to take a 1-1-1 PT test, which is basically an assessment. If you fail it, there's really no failing, there's really no passing. It's just an assessment of how you're doing. And then towards the end of red phase of basic training, you're then going to take an actual 2-2-2 PT test. So a couple weeks into basic training is when you're going to have your first actual PT test. And by the way, whenever I said if you're active duty, you're going to go to MEPS and then you're going to MEPS again, the reason I said that and specified active duty is because if you are in the reserves of the National Guard, you're only going to go to MEPS once. You will not have to go to MEPS before leaving for basic training. You will only go that first time whenever you swear in, because at that point, you are actually in the military. If you're active duty, you swear in and stuff the first time. You're not actually in, and your time in service doesn't start until the day you leave for basic training. Whereas Reserve and National Guard, your time in service starts from the first time you swear in. So my next question is a pretty specific one, and I just want to throw this out there for those of you guys who are curious, and that is, what is the make and model of the compass that the Army issues you? So that's the make and model of the compass that the military issues you. And so my final question I'm going to answer for you guys is, what happens whenever you get sent home due to an injury? I'm assuming this person's asking about basic training. So if you're at basic training, you get injured, what happens? There's really only going to be 2 options here. If it is a serious enough injury to where you get injured and they don't want you to actually stay at basic training and they want you to actually go home, what's going to happen to you is one of 2 things. Number 1 is you're going to go home, and then after about 6 months, you're going to come back to basic training and start all over. So that's going to be option number 1. Option number 2 is if you get injured at basic training and it's a really bad injury, then your contract's gonna be canceled. All this stuff is gonna, basically ruin your whole contract. Like if it's a really serious bad injury that's going to affect your military career, then you're just gonna get discharged from the military and you're gonna get sent home. Otherwise, if you're still able to, let's say you break your arm or something and you don't want to, you got like an 8-month recovery period or something. I have no clue. That's just a random time period. But let's say you break your arm, they'll send you home. Once that gets healed up and everything, it should be about 6 months or so. Then you can come back to basic training and start all over. So that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed something just a little bit different. I've been super far behind on all of my messages, replying to people just in general has been crazy because I've just been super busy, and it is just really difficult nowadays to just get back to everybody, especially on comments on YouTube. I try my best, but it's definitely super difficult now. It's not the days anymore whenever I only get like 10 comments a day and 1 DM on Instagram a day. Those days are long gone, which is pros and cons, I guess, pros and cons. But I hope you guys did enjoy this video. I hope you learned something. I hope I answered a question maybe that you were curious about. Maybe you didn't even know you were curious about it. But if I did answer a question, hit that like button. That would be awesome. If you want to stick around for some more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. That would be even better. If you guys are not following me on Instagram and Snapchat, Twitter is in the description. You guys can go ahead and do that if you want to. I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you guys later.